All right. And I think we are live. A little early. We're a little early tonight, but I just wanted to get started early because I'm an early bird kind of guy. Let's see who's in the chat real quick. Let's see. Some new faces. Mr. Anon. Nice. Jeremy Gray. It's new. Smash Time Me. Oh yeah. Fluffy. Triple H. You should get your box today or tomorrow, Triple H. Got Fluffy in here. Nice. Nice. All right. So wanted to get this show started a little bit early today. The kids are watching Spider-Man and just they're getting all jacked up to watch the new movie. So I'm trying to make them watch all the old ones in chronological order so they're less lost. All right. Anyway, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the channel. I really appreciate you guys wanting to hang out with us tonight. And I got a really cool guest. Today's guest is a guy I ran into him at the Kalashnikov event, and I didn't really talk to him a whole lot, but he seemed like an interesting character. So I watched a couple of his videos, and that turned into 5 of his videos. That turned into about 20 of his videos. Has a lot of really good stuff on the web, and I just got hooked. His really good content. Seems like a solid guy. He obviously puts a lot of effort into his channel, and it shows. His videos are really pretty high quality. So without further ado, let's bring him on. Mr. Klay. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, everybody? Happy to be here.
Man, I'm happy. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it because I'm just getting into the AK world, and it's different.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. Rachel and I were on YouTube the other day, and I see a video labeled Kalashmas. So I'm like, oh, cool. Someone made a video. And that's actually how I found your YouTube channel, your Kalashmas video, because I was searching the name. And I remember you started the video with something like, so AK people are different. And that's exactly right. It is a different group of guys and girls, extremely unique personalities.
Oh yeah.
In that realm of gun owner, it's pretty cool. For a lot of people, it's a breath of fresh air who have been shooting ARs, Glocks, kind of the go-to guns for a long time. They get into AKs and they meet a lot of these characters that they're really not used to. So it's definitely different.
Yeah, so I'm reviewing this VSKA that's behind me on the wall. And so I had it with me at the range. I shot it a little bit, and I went up to a guy named Zach, long hair. Pretty sure you know him.
I know Zach very well.
So just I didn't even know him. I'm like, you sound, because I saw him do the tear down and rebuild, and they commented that he had built some AKs. I'm like, great. This is a guy, an expert I can bring in. Maybe he can give me some 2 cents on this because I don't even know how to take this thing apart, really. So I said, hey, what do you think about this VSKA? And he got the cleaned up version and said I should throw it out before it blows up in my face.
I can just imagine what Zach would say. So yeah.
But he's actually really fun. I put about 1,000 rounds through it. He took it apart and he looked at it. He goes, well, it doesn't look like a total piece of trash. I go, thank you, man. Appreciate that. But he's a cool dude. I like him quite a bit. He was funny. Really a funny guy. But apparently this is not a good AK. It shoots so far, and it hasn't blown up yet, but there's some purists out there.
Yes. So, just to give you the rundown, for a lot of people that are just getting into AKs, the American-made AKs are, it's usually the option that everyone goes with just because price-wise, you can't really touch imports anymore that come anywhere close price-wise to American-made AKs. So like your PSAs, Palmetto State Armories, the Century-made AKs, some of the Pioneer Arms stuff. I mean, they're all priced like around between $600 and $800. So for a lot of people that just want to see what AKs are like, that's an easier pill to swallow than Bulgarian AKs going for $2,000. Kit builds. What's a kit build? You mean a gunsmith has to build my AK? Like a lot of that's just a little too much for people at first when they're just trying to dip their toe into the AK pond. So, without going too deep into it, Century has been importing AKs. Century honestly has imported more AKs in this country than any other importer combined. I think what they told me was, It's like 99% of the AKs in this country have Century Arms stamped on the side because they were either manufactured or imported by them. That's how many guns they brought in. A lot. So they started making their own AKs, and some of the early ones did not go well, and that stigma has kind of stuck with them even to this day. But I'm rooting for them. I hope their guns last. I hope they do well in the future. But some of the older ones they made just really earned a bad reputation, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. Well, PSA's been working their way out of the reputation jungle for a while, especially their first ARs were not that great either. So when I first moved to Texas about 12 years ago, I picked up a couple Wasser 10s. That was like the bare bones, junkiest AK I guess you could buy at the time. I think I paid like $300 each for them. And I ended up selling them for $450. And I'm like, what a great deal I made. If I had kept them today, I'd probably get an easy $1,200.
Yeah, probably really close to that. At one time, Wassers were considered the trash AKs back then.
Yeah.
Now they're considered. Oh, I mean, that's a true Romanian import. It's a cold hammer forged chrome line barrel. Everything's cold hammer forged. We're losing imports left and right. Everyone started looking at Wassers going, well, dang, we could lose that one too. And that's a true import. And the Romanians have brought in some pretty cool stuff. The Wassers really no different than a lot of the SAR rifles that came in. They're virtually identical minus mag dimples. And a lot of people started catching on, and now Wassers will never, ever, ever be $300 again. Ever. Those days are long gone.
And it's bananas. I remember I had a chance to buy a bunch of SKS because in California, the coolest gun you could buy was an SKS, really. It was like an SKS or a Ruger Mini 14 because you could have magazines you could take out. I was buying those for $99.
Yeah.
And that was like the best of the best. I mean, for $79, you could get one that was all dinged up and jacked up, but it was still a functioning gun. Now, I mean, it blows me away that I see SKSs now going for $500-$600.
Yeah, unfortunately, com block guns had such a bad reputation 20 years ago, plus, especially during like the ban era of the 90s, the assault weapons ban. Unfortunately, ever since Vietnam, up until I'd say at least 15 years ago, AKs, SKSs, VZ58s, just anything that was com block had a bad reputation. People would say they were poor quality. They were built by kids up in the mountains. They had really bad accuracy. We've all heard that gun shop lore since we were kids. I'm 30, going on 33 now. I remember a time where, it was just ingrained in my DNA to think AKs or anything that was not American made was crap. Chinese AKs, crap. And now, today, Chinese AKs are some of the most collectible, high dollar, most expensive, valuable AKs money can buy. But at the time, people didn't think that way. And now, like you're saying, SKSs, that's the gun you should invest in right now while they're still halfway affordable. Mosin Nagants, we're going for $300 to $500. Those used to be $98, garbage rods.
Right.
Everything com block is exploding in value because, 20 years ago, there was this huge surplus of Soviet era guns. And that's slowly gone down to barely anything trickling into this country. And now no more Russian imports. Chinese imports went away a long time ago. At any moment, we could lose Bulgarian imports or something. And it's just going to drive the values up even more. Scares a lot of people, and those prices keep going up.
Yeah, I bought a Bulgarian AK parts kit. I think I paid about $80 for it. Damn. And then all I had to do was get a receiver. And I remember I got this receiver, and I was going to go meet up with this guy in Houston. His name was Merrick, some old country AK fanatic. He helped invent Ubuntu. So he had all this money, but he looked like a mountain man. And he was doing this AK build party, and I didn't know how to do the rivets right. Man, it was horrible. I just gave it to him like, here, man, I'll just trade you this because it's so shitty. He goes, I'll just redo it. I go, thank you. I don't want to take it home. It's so putting them together, it's a lot harder than it looks.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's if you went today and decided, you know what, I want to have an AR-15, I'm going to buy all the little pieces. You could put it together. Honestly, you could put it together on your coffee table if you had like a punch set and a small hammer.
Yeah, I've done it.
Yeah, everyone has. Everyone knows it's basically like Legos. You're assembling something. With an AK, if you started with a parts kit, let's say you got a parts kit that happened before the barrel ban. At one time, parts kits could come in the country with their original barrels, and those were the glory days.
Yeah, the one I had the barrel.
Yes.
It actually came with the receiver too, but the receiver was cut in half.
So I'm surprised you got that for $80, a Bulgarian
That
kit
was
like
in 12 years ago. My first year. Yeah.
Is a Bulgarian original barrel kit today. Was it 762 or 545?
762. And I remember it had the weird wood grippy handle in the front. It was like a wood grip in the front. It was crazy looking. I think they called it a paratrooper.
Yeah. It could possibly have been Romanian. A lot of Romanian kits had a wooden dong.
Oh, yeah. Maybe it was Romanian. It's been years, man.
Yeah. So, even that kit today, the cheapest you're going to pay, in my opinion, would be like $400, just the kit.
Wow.
Because you have the original barrel. Then after a while, there was a barrel ban put in place where no parts kit, no matter where it comes from, can have the original barrel, which sucks because that means there's all these kits available, but there's not that many American companies making barrels for all these random kits. So there's no way you assemble it. But, even today, these kits at one time, AKs were so cheap at one time. People would have, kit building parties in a garage. Everyone would buy an $80 kit. They'd go to a guy's house that had the right press. He had all the rivet tools and everything.
Right.
They'd all assemble AKs and drink beer, and it was fun. Well, now a kit's $400 to $1,000, not counting the receiver you have to buy and everything else. It's extremely difficult to get into AKs today. It's just cost prohibitive, unfortunately. One time AKs, that was for the poors. That's what the poor kids got into. And, ARs were for the sophisticated among us. Now AKs are much more expensive to get into than just about any other gun. If you're trying to get into imports, that is, they're extremely expensive.
All right, let's see. Let's look at the chat. Everybody, real quick, if you're not a subscriber, I'll put his link in the description. You got it. Is it Clayco?
Yes, Clayco 47.
Clayco 47. All right. I don't know if it's Clayco or Clayco. I don't want to insult you. Let's see. Gator says he paid $430 for a Chinese SKS. It's not too bad.
Yeah, it's about the going rate these days.
Man, I can't believe I practically gave that thing away.
Yeah.
I was so frustrated with the SKS because I spent like 2 weeks trying to get the Cosmoline out, and I was so mad. Like I couldn't get all that damn Cosmoline out. It was driving me up the wall.
You know what people do now? I've got a couple of SKSs out of the crate when they're just caked in the Cosmoline mineral spirits. I'd fill up a spray bottle with mineral spirits, keep hosing it down, and eventually it'll just dissolve it all off. It takes you like an hour, but it's about the only way to do it.
Every time I clean that gun, I would find more Cosmoline.
You never really get it all out, especially those Yugoslavians. I think they moisturize with the stuff. They cake their guns.
I know it. So there's a question in the chat. What's the cheapest AK to get into right now? It's like if you wanted, say you had not the cheapest AK, but what's the cheapest quality? There, let's do that one. What's the cheapest quality AK where if I were to take this to the next Kalash Bash, I want to get laughed at as horribly as I did?
That's the number one question everyone asks. What's the AK right now to buy? What's the first AK? And it's a kind of a hard question to answer just because, for me, as far as American AKs go, it all depends, man. It depends on what you're willing to spend. $500 is not going to buy you an AK. $600, probably not. $700, maybe. $800, or I wouldn't even look. So, probably even for what you have on the wall, I think those are selling for what, $800 right now, maybe a little bit less.
I got that on Gunbroker for $499.
Okay, so that's definitely. I think the Viscas are definitely the cheapest way to get into it.
I've seen them up to $1,200 though.
Like I say, it's
crazy.
It depends on what panic we're in or whatever. Right now, everything's inflated, so just be ready for that. But honestly, I would say save up a little bit of money. Try to get like $1,000 together. I know that seems crazy to some people that are not into AKs. The American company right now that I trust more than any is Kalashnikov USA. Kind of new to the market, but what makes Kalashnikov USA so special is They are actually the old group that used to bring in all of the Russian Saigas. They were an import group.
I
Name
remember when
change.
those first hit the market. They were cheap as
Right. So that company was sold, name changed. Now they're Kalashnikov USA. But what's so cool about the company is they have a lot of Russian data packs. That means they have the exact blueprints, the exact metallurgy mixtures. They have everything to make real Russian clones. They make the 9mm Saiga bitch-ass clones called the KP9s. Probably seen a lot of people with little 9mm AKs running around.
yeah.
Extremely popular gun. They finally came out with a 7.62. It's called the KR-103. They're a little over $1,000. It is as close to a Russian Saiga 103 that money can buy without paying almost $3,000 for a real Russian one that's been in this country for maybe 15 years at this point, that someone might be willing to let go. People are having good luck with some of the third generation Palmetto State Armory AKs, but a lot of people aren't.
Right.
So I would say for me, the KR-103 is like the best starter. Or if you can find a Wasser, a current production Wasser for less than $1,000, buy it right now. Don't even think about it. Buy it right now.
Mind blown. Somebody in the chat, oh, my good friend, Stephen Winchester, says, Klay, what AK import do you think is the best? So money's no object. What is the best AK you can buy right now?
Without having to do anything, to me, Arsenal's, the Bulgarian AKs. If you can find the 100 series, so if you can find an SLR 107, which is 7.62, 104, which is 5.45, or 106, which is 5.56, any one of those in the side folding variant. So it would be an SLR 104, 106, or 107. They're not imported anymore. Up until like a year or two ago, they completely stopped coming in. But if you can find one,
what's the price on something like that right now?
The 7.62s are probably the cheapest, going for like 2,200. The 5.45s are probably going for like $3,000. The 5.56s are probably going for 2,500. Next year they're going to be more, but that's probably the best AK that has ever come into this country, hands down.
No kidding. So in one of your early videos, speaking of 5.56 AKs, one of your earlier videos, you did a Arsenal 106, and you didn't. I don't think you talked during the video, but you had wrote out how much you liked it, and I think it was like one of your first 10 videos. Great video.
That's an old video, yeah.
Yeah. Did you catch a lot of heat for that being a 5.56 from the purists? Because you also just did the Polish Baril. You just did one on the Baril, also in 5.56. So do the purists do you get any flack from those guys saying it should be 7.62 or?
So 3 years ago, yes. 3 years ago. But the thing is, 3 years ago, 5.45, so AK-74s were everywhere. So to a lot of people, they'd say, why would you invest in a 5.56 AK when 5.45 is cheaper to shoot and it's a real deal AK-74 that has been fielded for 30, 40 years now? Why would you want a 5.56 AK? Fast forward 3 years, 5.45 is about to be completely gone in this country. No one brings in AK-74s anymore. They're almost completely extinct. So everyone said, hold on, I still want to enjoy my AK, but I can't afford to shoot it. 5.56 AKs are extremely popular right now because this whole ammo scare has really made a lot of the purists go, okay, I get it. Like, if all of the Russian ammo went away and I can't buy cheap steel cased ammo anymore, which is an absolute possibility, as we just saw the Russian ammo ban happen, we're on like borrowed time with cheap ammo right now. Once all that's gone, if no American company makes it, 5.56 AKs are going to rule the day. And a lot of people are starting to go, damn, I wish I would have got into 5.56 AKs back when they were affordable. Now the price has shot way up. So back then, yes, I would catch crap all the time. Nowadays, people are way more open-minded. But as far as the Polish Baril goes, that's kind of a weird one because that is a real NATO AK. Poland is a part of NATO. That is an AK that is chambered in a NATO round. It has, been on the front lines. It has been fielded for many years now. That is a real deal gun. So a lot of AK purists, that's exactly how they want it because that's how the Polish have ran it. So that's like, it's kind of funny. That's okay because that's military. The Bulgarian stamped 223 gun that I really like, that was just sort of made for the American market. So they were like, gross. Now those guns are extremely expensive because they're not a secret anymore.
So how much is one of those barrels if you want to pick that up? Because I watched that video. It looked really slick.
So they're super nice. Man, a batch just dropped yesterday. They're like $1,500. Buy one right now. That is a extremely high-end AK. I can't believe they're selling them for $1,500. That's a collector grade AK that 10 years from now, when they're completely gone.
Oh man, how many do they have? Hold on. Let's take a quick pause so I can go buy this real quick before.
So Arms of America brings them in. So they're either going to be on the Arms of America website or Atlantic Firearms. That's usually where they go on sale.
Nice, nice. Real quick, guys, in the chat, if you're not a subscriber, please think about subscribing to my channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, Klyko, I just put his link in the chat. If you're not a subscriber, click his link. If you want to know anything about AKs, he has a full library, very educational material. Let's see. Gator says, my PSA 103 with the FN barrel grouping has been solid. Very happy. Yeah,
so buddy, a good friend of mine, Jim, he comes out to all of our big AK events, comes out to AK matches with us. He's actually had one of those PSA 103s with the FN barrel since they were new, and we've shot it quite a bit, and his has been really nice. So nice. He's had really great luck with it.
Yeah, because when I talked to Zach and he had poo-pooed on this gun, I'd already shot 1,000 rounds through it, and I'm getting ready to finish that review and shoot a couple hundred rounds. But now, since he said they blow up in your face, I'm like, oh shit, I'm kind of scared to shoot it.
There are several videos of them blowing up, but I mean, you know, Century says they have like below a 1% return rate on them. I mean, they're sending out, you know, hundreds of thousands of them, but there's Jim Burgess right there. He's in the comments. We were just talking about his 103. I don't want to. There's a lot of echo chamber going on in the AK community. I think every shooting community has echo chambers when one company will have one bad thing happen, and unfortunately, that reputation just gets echoed over and over and over again. Even when they fixed problems, it's really hard in the gun industry. It's like this weird thing. It's very difficult to overcome a bad rep.
Oh, look at Springfield Armory. They had one lobby group that they were paying to help lobby for and make a bad decision. And there's still people today. Like, I love Springfield Armory, but there's people today that I'll F those guys. I'll never buy a Springfield again. And you know, it's like that was 2 people out of the entire company that made that bad decision. And they just hate them. I love Springfield. I don't care.
Yeah.
They apologized. It was good enough for me.
I mean, there's so many gun companies, like Troy Industries. I think for a long time, Troy was making some of the best stuff, 7-ish years ago when Troy was like the hotness. And then people found out they had some, I guess they hired a guy that worked for the ATF that was at Ruby Ridge that did some shady stuff. And now everyone still to this day, they see a Troy rail on your AR, someone in the comments is going to say something extremely hateful, even though you might not even know what the heck they're talking about. A lot of that happens in the AK industry. So if the gun's working for you, let it keep working for you until it doesn't. Until it doesn't, you've really got nothing to complain about as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, so far so good, man. I figure if the AK blows up, it's not gonna blow up backwards. It's gonna blow out to the side. Hopefully, knock on wood.
We'll see.
Let's see. You got Randy Adams, Klayko. I only watched to see Svetlana and a few AKs.
Yeah, my fiance has a Russian cousin that stays with us from time to time that comes to the range. She's extremely rude, a little physically violent, smokes, has a bad drinking problem, but can really shoot some AKs. Sometimes she shows up in some videos.
Yeah, I've heard. Let's see. Triple H says, Smash. Honestly, any weapon could blow up in your face. Just depends a lot on ammo and my personal. Yeah, that's true. I mean, people, God, I don't want to say this out loud, but I had Glocks go down.
Yeah.
I expect to be struck by the Glock god any minute, for saying anything bad about Glock. But, I've seen Glocks go down before, and it's mechanical. Bob has a good point right here. Anything mechanical will fail after time.
Yes. True. Hey, people will tell you AKs are just the strongest, most rugged gun ever. I mean, if you shoot them long enough, I have split firing pins in half I have had headspace fallout. I mean, it happens. There's no indestructible gun. But unfortunately, if enough people share a video, if enough people share a picture of a gun, they're all bad. So, like I say, echo chambers are really bad. It's not good to regurgitate everything that you hear off the internet. So
Oh, 100%. And I remember when Eric from IV8888 did the torture test with his first AK, that thing died after like 600 rounds. It died quick.
Yep.
And people gave him a lot of grief about, oh, it wasn't a real quality AK. Then he did another one, and that one lasted forever before it melted.
Yeah, if you guys want like some of the best AK content out there, there's a YouTube channel called Kalashnikov Concern. It is like the Russian AK manufacturer. They have made a YouTube channel, so they have like unlimited funding, and they do meltdown challenges on RPKs, PPSH 41s, 43s, Krinks, 7.62 AKs, 5.45 AKs, nonstop until they blow the side of the barrel out. And on those Russian variants, it's extremely impressive to see how long 7.62 by 3.9 will last compared to like a faster, smaller moving round like 5.45. How a larger, slower moving bullet will erode your barrel much slower than a smaller, faster moving round will erode your barrel much, much faster.
Speed kills.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's very cool to see that coming from them, showing their own guns blow up and showing you why they made the changes that they did, blowing up old collectible AKs on camera. It's pretty cool.
See, Andrew Conrad, the AK is the only thing that communism got right. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. I won't argue with that one.
Yeah, like I say, unfortunately, still to this day, AKs have a weird stigma. I signed Rachel up for like a defensive carbine class like 5 years ago. She was just getting into shooting, and I had, like a Spikes AR I'd thrown together. And I said, let's just put you through a defensive class with an AR, and eventually I'll bump you up to AKs. ARs have no recoil. They're extremely light, blah, blah, blah. The instructor knew that I shot AKs at competitions and did all this stuff. And I was kind of sitting in on the class listening, and the instructor's looking around. There's like 12 students, and he says, so everyone here brought an AR, right? And everyone's kind of going, yeah. And he looks at me and he goes, sorry, I was just making sure nobody brought an AK. I hate to say it, Clay, but I'm just saying that's a bad guy gun. We shoot at people with AKs. I'm just like, that's such a typical funny thing to say. Unfortunately, They just still have this weird stigma that it's a bad guy terrorist gun that's poor quality. I think time has shown us that it is 100% false. It's the most popular gun on the planet. There are statues of this gun all over the planet. It's on several countries' flags. There's a reason for that. But that's not to say it's the best gun on the planet, but it is the most popular.
It's really good for robbing banks.
Yes.
As you
North
did a
Hollywood.
video on the North Hollywood shootout, which, I'm from LA and I watched that live.
Oh, did you really?
I was sitting there watching it going, what the heck is going on? I thought it was a movie at first. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable that two guys with a couple of Chinese Mac 90s, a Bushmaster dissipator, and an HK 91. Two of the AKs were illegally converted to full auto. The AR was full auto.
Yeah.
Two dudes completely changed the way law enforcement works.
Yeah. I mean, I remember they were shooting at him with a lot of those guys were carrying revolvers too.
Yeah.
And
yeah, these dudes had homemade body armor and a couple of AKs with a trunk full of drum mags, 75 rounds at a time.
I know, it was nuts.
It's funny. One of the things I really want to go do, because I'm so interested in that shootout, not glorifying it, is just a very interesting moment in time. They have the LAPD museum where they have the car there. They have what they wore that day. The guns are all there. Extremely interesting how much that. I'm surprised like a full-length feature film hasn't come out about that. There's been like small, like straight to TV movies about it, but I'm surprised someone hasn't done a full-on movie about it.
Oh man. Well, they probably don't want copycats going out there because, they did really well for a little while. And then the one guy just decided to blow his brains up. But those guys were jacked up on, I think, PCP.
Yeah.
They were high as a kite. I don't care if you're wearing body armor or not. You get shot with a gun, it's going to hurt. But nothing was phasing those guys.
Yeah, and I think they said that the guys were really big fans of the movie Heat. Apparently,
Yeah,
they like used that movie to kind of plan how to manage the situation when robbing a bank from the movie Heat
bananas.
because it was so realistic.
Bananas. Let's see, you got Triple H, an indestructible gun, a high point. You know,
Yeah,
that is the AKA polymer guns. That thing is, and they're ugly as shit, though. I mean, as shucks. Let's keep this family friendly. John says, I had a VSKA after 1,200 rounds. It lost headspace and blew the left lug off the front trunnion.
so that's unfortunately what seems to be happening. First, they had what was called the RAS 47, and a lot of
RAS
them lost
47. I heard
headspace.
that was horrible.
They were losing headspace left and right, and as you know, if you lose headspace enough, you can have a detonation prematurely. So that gun's no longer made. The Visca was made apparently with like tool steel trunnions, better than cast trunnions. You can't cast trunnions that's supposed to hold all of that pressure. They're supposed to be cold hammer forged.
Right.
The Visca was supposed to fix a lot of that, but some people are still having problems with barrel pins falling out, which will cause you to lose headspace almost instantly, or just losing headspace in general. I'm sure these are very limited cases, but
I'm
it
gonna
has happened.
duct tape that when I go to shoot it next time.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things. But like I say, if it's working for you, I mean, I would if you have headspace gauges and you want to check it, every 1,000 rounds, you're more than welcome to. But if it's working for you, I really wouldn't worry about it.
Well, I might be having a flash sale on this Vesca. I'll be putting that money towards something else. But no, so far the gun's been fantastic. I have no complaints here. Let's see. Let's see. Who else is in the chat? Benoit Virus says Zetavia all the way.
Oh, Zastava.
Zastava. What is Zastava?
Those are former Yugoslavia. It's one of the countries that used to be Yugoslavia called Serbia.
Right.
Yugoslavia in general, Zastava, the factory is over 100 years old. It's one of the oldest
Wow.
munitions manufacturers on the planet. They make Zastava AKs. So Century was importing Zastavas for a long, long time. Now they have their own importer. They're called ZPAP. So there's the M92s, the M85s, the M70s. Those are probably some of the best bang for your buck as far as real deal imports today. The M70s are just awesome, awesome guns. And they're selling them for like, I don't know, $1,100. Great guns. But what's interesting is a lot of people don't know this. 90% of AKs are AKM spec. They take AKM furniture. That's just what they are. You have AK-47s, which are technically milled. You have AKMs, which is AK modernized, came a little bit later. Then you have AK-74s. The Serbians, the Yugoslavs, they really did their own thing. They made AKs, but they're slightly different in pattern. Their furniture doesn't interchange. Butt stocks don't interchange, but a lot of stuff does. Grips, muzzle devices, trigger groups, things like that. But the gun is physically different. So some people will buy these, Yugo pattern AKs, and they start buying stuff off the shelf to put on it. They're like, oh, it doesn't fit. Because most of the aftermarket support is for AKMs because that's such a wider audience of people. But Zastavas right now are some of the best AKs in the country currently while we're getting them, and hopefully we don't lose those.
Oh, very cool. I know when I first was going to buy an AK years, like 10 years ago, like when I was going to keep some of those Wassers, I know I couldn't find a way to mount a red dot on it.
Yep.
There was no way to mount a scope or anything. I was like, And then I heard, which is probably the biggest myth, is that AKs are absolutely trash after 100 yards. You shoot 10-inch groups past 100 yards. I've heard that 1,000 times. Oh, their accuracy sucks. They can't shoot anything. It's just spray and pray kind of a gun.
Yep.
And I've watched you do your videos where you're shooting these steel matches. You look like you're doing pretty all right.
Oh, we win matches all the time with AKs against ARs. The problem with that is it's just this fallacy that's been passed down year after year after year. And you got to figure ARs in this country outnumber AKs, I don't know, more than 10 to 1. Like AKs are still technically a niche in this country compared to all the other guns out there. So for all this time, you have all these people that will spend 10 years on an AR-15. They know everything about it. They can take it apart, put it back together upside down before the nose starts to bleed. They know what their holdovers. They know everything about it. They'll pick up an AK for a weekend and go, oh man, the recoil and what the hell is meters? We don't use meters here, or because all the sighting setup, that's not for an American. That's not an American measurement. That is the metric system. So zeroing them is a little bit different. Everything about them is different. Once you know all that, you can pull off awesome groups. But people will have that one time with an AK after only knowing AR-15s, and it's a completely, wildly different experience. Shooting, loading, everything about it. They come away going, I hate the ergonomics. I can't hit anything. I don't know how to zero this thing. It's a piece of trash. Because they just don't spend much time with it. If anyone out there, spent half as much time on an AK as they did growing up with an AR or whatever their favorite gun is, they would be just as good. Just as good, because the gun's way more capable than we are.
Yeah, so when I first got that and took it to the range, I've never shot an AK. Well, I have once or twice, but not a lot. And I kept trying to do the reach over charge, and I'm like, this is super uncomfortable. But in your video, it's like, no, you just chuck it and you just use your right hand to charge it back. And I was like, oh, that makes more sense. So guys, if you're not a subscriber, again, I'm going to put his link in the chat. Subscribe to his channel because it's highly educational content. We have Gator in the chat says Zastava M70 Walnut. I got one too. So beautiful with the nickel bolt carrier.
Oh yeah, they're gorgeous guns. I love the walnut furniture. So I see someone said that he picked up a Zastava for right under $1,000. That is an awesome value for a really nice import.
Urban Ninja, is that true? Can you still get that deal? Because I need to get one like right away. Because I'm scared to shoot this now. I don't want to get it, blowing it up.
Oh, I wouldn't buy into that too much. But yeah, if you can get a current Zastava M70 for less than $1,000, do it. I did a review on an M70, and it's one of the best AKs I shot this year. I was so impressed.
Really? Now, the stuff that comes with polymer furniture, I can get, I want like a real Russian red. I want like a classic looking AK.
So what's good about
change the furniture
AK, back? Yes. What's good about this, $1,000 polymer AK, buy it just to get the gun. You can get rid of the furniture. Zastava on their website, you can buy the walnut, the tiger stripe, blonde wood. They have, modern synthetic furniture, whatever you want. Magpul makes furniture for them that just slaps right in. But to get a nice AK like that for $1,000, who cares what furniture it has? You can get rid of that in a day. Don't let the furniture scare you. That's 20 minutes. And Yugo pattern AKs, the furniture is extremely easier to change out, easier than an AKM. Buttstocks on AKMs are kind of hard to get out. Yugos, the Serbian-made AKs, very easy to get the buttstock off.
Nice. Larry Lyons says, hey, Smash, what do you think about the SKS? Man, I owned a SKS. I shot the junk out of that rifle.
Yeah, me too.
The trashiest ammo. I think I bought it, and then I bought 2,000 rounds of ammo, and it was like, it wasn't even like the nice spam cam ammo. This is like rusted out. I mean, this is trashy ammo. Never had a problem with it.
They're awesome. My favorite SKS, I've had a couple. I had a Norinco Paratrooper, which is like the shorter one with the spike bayonet, the 20 round star mag. But man, Yugoslavian SKSs with the blade bayonets and the grenade sights are friggin' awesome. And they just work. They absolutely work.
Shooting Gallery New England, another good channel, everybody. I love AK ergos. I've been looking for a Mac 90 forever. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the Mac 90s. Back in the day, Mac 90s were considered Chinese trash. And now
that was like a gangster gun right now.
Yeah.
That's like the gangster rap gun. Urban Ninja says Classic Firearms has it for $9.99.
Oh, yeah, that's a deal. It's a good deal.
I might have to, maybe we might have to take a quick break. I have to go buy something real quick.
I loved it. And the thing is, most AKs are very overgassed, so suppressing them is a little difficult. But the current Zastava is a little undergassed. We put a suppressor on it, and it shot pretty well. It wasn't too much.
Do AKs have adjustable gas? Can you adjust it?
You'd have to buy, so K&S Precision. A lot of people know that company for their AR-15 parts. They make gas pistons. You just swap out the gas piston. With some hand tools, it take you 30 minutes in your garage. And you've got like 80 different gas settings now, which is an absolute must if you're going to suppress an AK. They're already overgassed to run
It looks
reliably.
sweet suppressed. When you were shooting that one recently, that thing looks ridiculous.
Dude, with the gas turned down on a can, I'd put any suppressed AK against a suppressed AR. They shoot so smooth and soft and quiet.
Hey, Will. Hold on, Will in the chat. Let's see. I love my Polish. Will, you need to suppress that Polish. Come on, man. Let's do it.
Polish AKs are some of the best, man. They really are. The WBPs, the FB Radoms, those are the fit and finish on those things. It's just beautiful.
Like polymer to Serbian red furniture, you won't regret it. Yeah, I want a classic red. I wonder if I could put red furniture on this and they just use it as a wall hanger.
Yeah, you definitely could.
There you go. There you go. And then I'll get one because I don't believe in safe queens. Like if I nick a gun, I don't give a shit. You know, guns are tools. They're meant to be shot and enjoyed. It doesn't. Like I was trying to take pictures of this 1911 with a buddy of mine, and he was using the mag to kind of hold it up, and it scratched the whole other side of the slide up. Anybody else would have threw a fit, but I was like, doesn't bother me.
You know, AKs look good when they're beat up.
They do.
Mean, somebody posted a meme the other day. It's this guy at a strip club. I'll keep it kid friendly. And the girl dancing is a little, beyond her twilight years. And it's beat up AK and me. And it's just like throwing money at it. Like some beat up AKs just look good. The worse the furniture, if it's got trench art carved in the side, if the gun looks like it's rode around in the back of a friggin' Jeep out in the desert for 30 years, they look so good when they're battle worn. They just look awesome the worse they get. Yeah,
it's just a classic looking gun. When I was a kid, I always wanted it. My favorite G.I. Joe came with an AK.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah. Let's see. Jim, the good thing about SKS and AKs both are that you can shoot the cheapest Doug Shucks ammo and they run and run. That is true. I can vouch for the SKS for sure. I shot the worst. I mean, that ammo literally was in the back of this guy's truck for like a year under a tarp, and it was rusted. Some of it, I had to like wipe the rust off, and it shot it, man. It blew me away.
Yeah, everyone should have an SKS. Everybody should.
100%. Rachel in the chat says AKs are life. Drop your AR and get into AKs. Trust me, put your purse down and do it.
Ooh, shots fired. Man, she's been hanging out with Svetlana too long. She's starting to get a little rude.
She's fine. It's funny. Let's see. Palmetto Armory had a nice AK with the Russian wood but modern innards. I shot one at 2A EDU meet and great. Really? All right. Smash, if you get the Zastava M70, please let me come and shoot it. Oh, I thought you had one. Damn, don't tease me, bro. Don't tease me. Urban Ninja's a fellow Houstonian. It's a crack shot with a pistol.
Oh, word. He needs to come out to Red Range.
Yeah, right? Only if you can go back 25 years to get the good ones. I know. Man, hindsight's 2020. If I could go back even 20 years or 10 years and buy.
If you could go back 5 years, you could have some of the baddest AKs that ever came in the country for $1,100.
Right?
At one time, Bulgaria was bringing in the baddest AKs ever for $1,100, and they couldn't give them away. Only when they stopped bringing them in, everyone was like, oh, no. And they all shot up to $2,500 plus.
That's how it is, though.
5 years ago, man, I would have bought so many AKs if I'd have known.
Everyone in the chat, please hit the thumbs up. I'd greatly appreciate it. Devil Dog, what do you think of the SAM 7 or SAM 5 lineup?
Ooh. Okay, so these are milled AKs.
That's all Greek to me. So I don't know what this is. Milled.
So a milled receiver, Galil's milled receiver. The very first AK was a milled receiver AK because the Russians didn't really have stampings down. So they figured, screw it. We'll take a billet block of steel and we'll mill it out to a receiver. The trunnion's all integral. And, we'll thread a barrel in and boom, you have AK. So the SAM 7 is a Bulgarian milled AK. I mean, that's the type of AK that you can have in your family for 100 years. Passed down on, they are absolute tanks. They're heavy, but what's good about milled guns is they're inherently much smoother feeling than stamped guns. It almost feels like it's on ball bearings. They have telescopic recoil rods instead of, the coat hanger recoil rod. It's actually a telescoping rod that you'd find in an RPK. They're extremely rigid, great guns. The Sam 5 is cool because it's 5.56. It's a milled 5.56 AK, basically with recoil turned completely off. It is one of the softest guns you'll ever shoot in your life. It is top of my list on want right now. I have to own a Sam 5 soon. And they're currently available, but they're like $1,800.
Oh. That's a little pricey. Will, you need to buy one of those so we can shoot it. He says, I have shot the AK suppressed, but need a KNS adjustable piston as it's too much gas.
At 100% true.
No, it just blows the gas back into your face.
We got to figure an AK is overgassed already. Now you're adding all this extra back pressure.
Right.
It's almost kind of bad for the gun. They're just so violent unless you can turn the gas down. Yeah, lots of gas in the face. Just the internals, you're adding so much stress. It's $100, like $120. Get a piston, put it in. You can even tune your recoil unsuppressed. Turn down the gas, have a softer shooting gun. It's a win-win. They're really nice.
Yeah, Clay tells me all the time he wished he was born in the 80s to grab all the AKs so cheap. I know. I remember someone was trying to sell me a crate of SKSs for like $400. It was like six or seven of them, or 8. It was 6 or 8. I was like, I don't want that. It's trash. What an idiot. That was an idiot. That's like gun Bitcoin right there. I should have bought it. 1,100. Let's see.
Dude, the 80s wasn't just good for AKs. I mean, all those, just the cool pre-band stuff in the 80s, man. All the cool stuff. The 80s definitely had really cool variety of imports. All the cool stuff. Well,
80s in general was just a really cool time. I mean, you're 33. I'm 43, so I'm 10 years older. God dang. Feel it.
Well, you look much younger than that.
That's the chemo. No, I'm kidding. That's such a bad joke. Man. So you did a couple really cool videos. Now, the Kalashmas event and the what's that other one? It's not Kalashmas. It's
Kalash Bash.
Kalash Bash. Who started that, and how did you get involved?
My business partner and I started it with 2 guys 4 years ago. We've been doing Kalashmas for like 5-6 years now. It all started, just to give you the quickest rundown I can. Kalashmas was nothing more than like 50 dudes getting together at Renaissance like 5-6 years ago to shoot AKs wearing ugly Christmas sweaters. That's all it was. Adam had a flamethrower out there, and we were just, shooting at a dirt clod, hanging out. That's all it was. And we said, we should do this every year. So the next year we did it, and like 100 people showed up, and we thought we should probably start selling tickets to this. So by the 3rd year, which I think would have been like 2017, 2018 timeframe, would have been 2018, we decided, let's sell tickets. We're like, no one's going to buy it. But it sold out in a day. We completely sold it out in a day. We had a pretty strong Instagram back then, and we did a little bit of promoting, and it sold out really quick. It was fun. So we thought, damn, we might be able to do something a little bit bigger. So we were all having beers and brats one day at a local gun shop. Mike and Lan of Dissident Arms, they make bad to the bone 3-gun AKs. In fact, their Vepr 12 AK shotguns, the current open division world champion, someone went to France and just beat the world with one of their guns. They said, we've had an idea about this large AK match, but we need help promoting it and selling tickets. And we thought, well, we've had this idea about this big AK event. A match would be fun. So it's kind of, we all put our fists in and said, all right, you guys provide a big match. We'll provide a big party. And let's see what we can do. And Kalash Bash was born in 2019. We had, I want to say about 300 people come out, shoot a big match. It was a 2-day event. We had a ton of vendors. We had like 30 grand on the prize table. And then 2020 came, COVID hit, we had to, reschedule like 6 months back to October. We sold 550 tickets. We had 50 grand on the prize table. We had another Christmas event. This year we sold 750 tickets. We had 60 grand on the prize table. It just keeps getting bigger. And Kalashmas, it's just a fun, small thing we do every year for like $20 or whatever it was, $25. Yeah. That's all it is. We found out that these AK guys have nothing to do. There's so many events centered around ARs. Right. If you're into pistols, they're everywhere. Right. You can throw a rock and hit an event for those, but no one there's not much going on for AK enthusiasts where you would go and everyone there is just like you. You might be the only AK guy there. So we decided to do that, and it's become friggin' really big, way bigger than I ever thought. And it's just
it's cool. It was a really cool event because have you been to the Iraq Veteran 88 event in Georgia?
I was invited, I didn't go. I
You
just
should have
have
went.
I have limited vacation time throughout the year. I have to like
Right. So
figure out where I'm going.
the Kalash Bash is like a miniature version of his event. And it was a blast, man. I love that format. I love how it's the guns. You line up and just shoot and have a good time. I think there should have been a little bit more tannerite and stuff involved.
Yeah.
But, no, I had a great time, man. I didn't know what to expect, and I was pleasantly surprised. I had a blast. A very eclectic group. I loved it.
You should.
Matthew in the chat says, have you guys ever been around an SLR 101? I don't know what that is.
Testing my knowledge here. Correct me if I'm wrong. SLR 101. That's an older import from like the mid to late 2000s. Oh man, he'll have to tell me what caliber that is. I want to say that was. Oh man, I think that's like a really rare fixed stock 545 that didn't come in very much. He'll have to tell me exactly what that is down there. An SLR 101 is not extremely common.
Jim says pre-86 is when I want to time travel back to Triple H. That was a good time, man. The 80s were great. I mean, heck, I was only like 10 years old, but I had a great time. The 80s were the best. Let's see. Johnny Bravo says, I have the Meridian Defense Pestilence, and it's tuned for suppressor. That thing shoots like a dream. I guess you get what you pay for. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Meridian Defense is one of they're like a boutique AK builder. So they're buying really nice kits. They're building them with front sight gas block combos. They're tumbling them those are some of the baddest AKs money can buy right now. So he did really good.
Yeah, look, Randy Adams in the chat. Clayco, I had a Chinese 5.56 AK, got for $299 in late 1980s. He sold it in the 90s.
Yeah, but I mean, they imported so many Chinese AKs.
Somebody has them.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of Chinese AKs in this country. So at one time, there was no reason for them to be worth a lot of money because there were so many of them. But now they're extremely collectible.
Urban Ninja says, Clacko, do you need an AK to attend these events?
Absolutely not. So Kalash Bash, there's two different tickets. You can buy the expensive ticket, which gets you into the match. You got to have an AK for that. Or you can buy the half price ticket, which gets you just into the event. And the match is just something happening in the background. There's machine gun demos everywhere. There's shootable challenges. There's prizes to win. No matter what ticket you buy, you're entered in on the prize table.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of just people hanging out. It almost had the tailgate vibe to it, man. It was just people hanging out.
Oh, yeah. Kalash Bash is just a hangout session. You don't need any gun. And Kalash Bash, that's on you. If you want to compete, you have to have a gun.
And it has to be an AK, right?
An AK or a variant. So Galils are acceptable. Valmets are acceptable. Although no one's bringing one of those. Like the SIG 550 series. AKs are very close variants are allowed. BZ58s are definitely allowed, even though they're not an AK at all.
So Bob Hilton in the chat says, for the ZPAP 92, will that stock piston eventually break?
No, I wouldn't worry about your piston breaking at all.
Nice. Devil Dog says, do you think that U.S. brand company will keep 5.45 by 39 alive and relevant in the future, or Palmetto may produce 7.62 by 39?
If there's a hole in the market and there's money to be made, somebody will. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. But, I mean, the problem is a lot of us think that there's a ton of demand for 545. And, yeah, maybe there's a little bit. In the grand scheme of things, there's not a huge demand for 545 enough for an American manufacturer to make it. Absolutely, someone's going to step up to the plate and do 7.62 by 39 because there's a huge demand for it.
Right.
545 is an even smaller niche. I hope to God somebody does because I love the round. But, man, I wouldn't bank on it anytime soon, unfortunately.
Well, I talked to some ammo manufacturers that import a lot, and their timeline is going to go as follows. They're going to say everyone right now, this instant, is importing as much as they can. So it's going to be flooding the market until mid next year.
Yep.
And then it's going to start to dry up a little bit. But you can't export the full round. What about just primered steel casings? Send it across the border, put the bullet in them. There's lots of people finding ways around this. So I'm not too worried about it. I wish I would have kept
5.56 AK, and then you don't have to worry about it.
I want a 5.56 AK.
Yeah, they're awesome.
The recoil must be nothing.
Yeah, 5.45 AKs have the softest recoil. 5.56 is almost as good, but they have a little bit more punch.
Yeah, Johnny Bravo concurs. He goes, it's funny. Back in the 80s, everyone hated Chinese AKs. Now you can find one. They're expensive as heck.
Yes, especially pre-bans. One of the very first imports to ever come in this country they were imported by a company called Clayco, the Clayco Chinese imports. That's actually how I kind of got my name. Those are extremely collectible. Some of the milled old.
You got to get one of those, man. It's in your name, bro.
Yeah, I'm not paying those kind of prices to have a gun I'll never shoot. Absolute. I'm not
going to shoot it if you got one.
No, they're too expensive. Guns like that go for almost $5,000. Absolutely not.
Oh man, you got to shoot it, bro.
I'm not into safe queens, man. Like if I don't shoot them, they sell. I don't like having a gun in the safe. I just pull out to show people because it's really cool. If I stop shooting it and get bored, it gets sold pretty quick.
Agreed. Because I know a lot of people that just have. Heck, I know one guy that just buys tons of guns and never shoots them. He's an avid collector. Most of his stuff is pre-1990. He buys tons of guns, and he probably has 30 M1 Garands with all matching numbers. Won't shoot them.
I mean, that's cool. That's cool. I'd rather have one that was a beater that looked cool that I could go out and shoot.
Right. Devil Dog says SLR 101 is basically a Sam 7.
Right. So that is a ban era. So this would have been like at the end of the assault weapon ban. So if I'm not mistaken, a lot of those the barrels wouldn't have been threaded. They wouldn't have had bayonet lugs. I believe they would have had thumb hole stocks, but it's still a good chrome line barrel, cold hammer forged, milled receiver. You can de-ban them if you find the proper parts, send it to a gunsmith. They can take a assault weapons ban era gun and make it not. They can make it totally full of features that the government hates. So that's a good gun. If you're willing, if you don't like it the way it is, you can have all the features added by a gunsmith.
Yeah, 100%. Again, guys, if you're not a subscriber to Clayco, I'm going to put his link in the chat. Definitely subscribe to his channel. I've learned a lot the last 4 or 5 days watching his videos than I can learn on my own. So it's good stuff. Let's see. Cars Art Music says, thanks, Clay, for getting back on IG and giving me info. Dope, dude. Loving the AK crowd. That's always nice to hear.
Yeah, I mean, anyone that sends me a DM on Instagram, I absolutely make time to try to go answer all of them.
Yeah, that's how we hooked up. Because I didn't recognize you because you had the
it was
wig on, and I was like, this is his event. I don't even see him here.
Yeah, I was dressed like one of those big cat guys that recently got thrown into jail by some lady down in Florida.
Carol Baskin.
Yeah. He's broke. He'll never financially recover from it, but that's who I was dressed as. So I can see that you didn't recognize me.
When I watched that TV show, I was hooked, man.
Oh, Rachel and I are fanatical about that show.
People binge watched it. I watched the first episode and I'm like, this kind of sucks. And then the very last thing, by the way, she killed her husband. What? Then the next episode, that guy commits suicide. It's like, what is going on?
Can't make this stuff up. I'm like, these are all real people, and this is real.
And that one girl got her arm bit off. They said, well, they said I could have saved my hand, but I was like, nah, just take it off.
She's like, I went back to work. Oh God. We've seen them all. We've seen all the season 2 stuff. We recently just watched the new one they aired about Doc Antle, which is the craziest one yet. It's insane. He's the worst.
He's got one too?
Doc Antle. They just put I think a 4-part series up on Doc on Netflix. It's the second I saw it, I clicked on it, and it was like the first episode, like you're saying, is a little slow, and then that cliffhanger they leave you on is like, This dude's out of his freaking mind. I mean,
He's
Doc's the worst
into
one.
some weird stuff, and I guess those girls are like, I don't
Dude's
know.
a
I'm gonna watch it though.
dude's a pedophile, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
Ah,
And he
geez.
is despicable. You'll see it. It's terrible, but it's binge worthy. It's it's so funny because if you watch the very first season, I think the first line is any human that has big cats as pets is usually out of their friggin' minds in some way. And every person, every character that shows up on that show that has like their own little private zoos, something about them is just completely off, completely out there. And
Yeah,
these people have all these exotic animals that are completely dependent on them.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I do think Carol killed her husband though.
Oh yeah, FBI is currently investigating her right now.
Crazy. That chick is nuts. My good buddy Randy Adams says, "Does Clayco do live chats?"
I'm going to start soon. My business partner Tony, he owns Kyber Customs. Well, I'm sure a lot of people have heard of them. He's been telling me, bro, you got to start doing live chats. So
It's a lot of fun, man. I really enjoy it. Getting the lighting right's kind of tough, but once you get the lighting right, it's easy.
yeah,
Plus, I mean, you obviously can speak well on camera. Your channel is phenomenal. I think it's going to go very well for you, man. It's good stuff.
I told myself if I can somehow get to like 50,000 subs, I'll start doing live chats then. Right now, I don't think that many people would be interested. So if I can get up to that number, that's a bit of a pipe dream. I'll start doing live chats. I'll make that promise to myself.
No, that you should hit that number pretty quick. What are you at now? You're at 48.
No, I think I'm in the low 40s, but
It's momentum, man. Your channel, especially this year, because it looks like you started pretty strong, and it looks like 2019 you did less videos, and then 20, and then especially this year you've been banging them out. Some quality stuff.
man, I've had
And
a
if you look
YouTube
at your
for a long
retention,
time.
if you look at
Like,
your retention level too, so if you have 50,000 subscribers, you're supposed to get at least 10,000 views per video, right? And I think you have some you release in like a week, you get 27, 30,000 views. So your view count, you're probably averaging 450, 500,000 views a month. It's not bad.
well, I've had a YouTube channel forever just because I binge watch. I watch YouTube more than like my own TV. Like our TV's on the YouTube app more than anything. I like watching. I like watching people's content. I binge out on. I go into YouTube rabbit holes sometimes, which is what's so cool about YouTube. If you're into guns, there's gun content. If you're like, kind of tired of gun stuff and watch car stuff, it's just so easy to hit all the boxes, you know?
Yeah, but sometimes you'll start watching late at night, and then 3 hours later, you're watching midget slap boxing, and you're like, what is going on? How did I even get here?
Oh, dude, we got into sumo wrestling one night, and I was just like, damn,
I'm huge into sumo wrestling. I love that stuff.
yeah, okay, from a person that has never watched it to going from gun videos to we're drinking whiskey outside by our fire, and Rachel and I were like an hour deep, getting a little tipsy watching sumo wrestling on the back porch, and I'm just like, what time is it? What are we doing? We need to go inside. This is a rabbit hole we have just fallen into. Let's go inside.
Well, it's cool. Sumo wrestling is really cool. They used to show it on like this odd hours in California. I used to watch it when I was a kid. They showed on some random public access, and there was this one Samoan guy, Akibono, and it's crazy how they go out and it's a whole ceremony. You know,
Oh,
they
the whole
throw the
thing.
rice.
There's this whole thing that happens for this little 10-second stint. We like watching a guy named Toshinoshin. He's like this Eastern European guy that sumo wrestles, but physically he's like jacked. He doesn't look like any of the other sumo wrestlers. And we just got binge watching Toshinoshin, and it just I never knew how fun it was to watch. And like you're saying, it's so traditional. Everything from building the slab that they're on, they've done it the same way for like 1,000 years. Everything they're doing is exactly the way it was hundreds of years ago. They don't change anything, and it's pretty refreshing to see that.
I love how the referees yell at them.
Yeah. The way the referee gets dressed, the colors they wear, I mean, everything is just so traditional.
And when they win, they just, they do the whole little thing. They take their thing and just walk off.
Straight face. And that's like what they're supposed to do. You're supposed to, if in victory, you are straight faced. You don't raise your fist in the air. You just bow and leave.
Yeah, it's cool. Back when I used to watch it, there was these two brothers, Takanahana and Wakanahana, and they weren't the biggest guys, but they would beat the big guys just because they were so fast. And, man, if you guys have never seen sumo wrestling, don't start watching it because it is a rabbit hole, and it's pretty interesting. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. Let's see. Bob Hilton says Clayco 47 is a genius. I looked up Clayco AK-47, and all that comes up are his videos.
Oh, right. He was looking at the Clayco imports.
Product positioning. That's how you do it. Kyle Anderson's Clayco, do you know what's up with all the bayonet lugs being milled off for the past 20 years?
Well, I mean, they don't have to do it if they're going to import, 922R is a thing. And if a gun comes in the country, it has to have so many American parts, or it has to have some features that aren't there, or whatever. A lot of guns are coming in with the bayonet lugs. They don't necessarily have to do it, but like I think all the new M70s don't have them. But the thing is, for these companies, I mean, it's honestly a non-concern for them. How many of us, other than some of the purists, that think it would be cool to put a bayonet on there once for a picture and then take it back off and throw the bayonet in the closet? If I'm those companies, I'll save a little bit of money and pass that savings on either to myself or the customer by just not putting on a bayonet lug for something that you're never going to use. It's cool to say that your gun has one, but I think in today's day and age, it's not something a younger generation really thinks about.
That's true. Urban Ninja says, Clayco, wow, 85K followers on IG +1. So he just joined. Urban Ninja is a fellow Houstonian. Cool dude. Very cool guy.
Urban Ninja, I'll make a promise to you guys. So my business partner and I, we have an FFL SOT. So we got some machine guns. One day, we all need to go to the range. We'll all get some ammo together and we can shoot some machine guns. If you guys want to come do that, we could film it. We got some ARs, some AKs, some 5.45 guns, some 9mm guns, all full auto. All you guys got to do is help out with some ammo, and we'll go out there and blast. We'll have a ton of fun.
That's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. So my first meet and greet I did at Renaissance Gun Club. I told Adam, I was like, look, man, I'm gonna have about 30 guys show up. We just want to shoot, have some barbecue, hang out. I didn't know we were gonna be shooting stations. So Adam set up 2 stations. He goes, hell no. You know how he is. Hell no, you guys come out, you're gonna be shooting for time. And none of us had shot time before. So it was a reality check to shoot, when that beep goes off and we're shooting. Half of us didn't have holsters. It was really embarrassing. It was embarrassing. The whole group kind of fumbled a little bit. So the second time we had a meet was about a month ago. Much better. I still sucked, but everyone else is much better. And hopefully the third one, I want to do one maybe in April or May before it gets too hot, and try and make it a little bit more of a production. But I'm just trying to work out the logistics of that.
Yeah, Rachel and I saw a couple of your videos of your meet and greets, and I just thought, man, how have I not known about this fella being so close? And he's got meet and greets out there too. Like, that's just so cool. We watched, you had prizes, and everyone was shooting their pistols. He had a course of fire that was timed, which
that was really hard.
Because that's like all the shooting that we do. And it was funny. We were watching all these people, and we could tell, who's done this before. You could tell who's just getting into it, who hasn't done it before. You could see them get better and better and better as the day went on.
So at the last meet and greet we did, the Asian cat that just killed it at the end, that's Urban Ninja.
Oh, okay. Got it.
He's famous, man. Everyone was just standing there watching him shoot going, damn. Because that Texas Star was killing all of us. That thing is really hard to shoot.
There's definitely a trick to those. They put those in a lot of competitions that we go to. And I will tell you guys, anyone that wants to become a better shooter, and Jim Burgess, who's in the chat, will totally back me up on this. I remember meeting Jim when he was, I'm not going to say just getting into shooting, but he had never done a match or anything like that. And I was there with Jim training with Russians at a Center T class. I've shot matches with Jim. That has turned him into a phenomenal shooter. Shooting a competition is one of the number one, if not the number one training tool for the money anyone can get into. You're talking about a competition that might be 5 stages. It's $30, 100 rounds a day of your time.
Yeah.
Go out there, have real stress added from a clock. There's no way to fake stress at your house. Dry firing is great. Stress is hard to fake. The timer,
Well,
with
I
people
disagree
watching,
because have you ever tried to sneak a gun past your girlfriend or wife?
yes, and I've been caught.
That's very stressful.
Rachel's come home and I've hidden the gun in the safe, left the box on the table.
Oh,
She came home, she's like, "What did you buy?" I'm like, "I didn't buy anything. What are you talking about?" She's like, "There's a box that says Century Arms on the kitchen table." And I was like, "Idiot." Had to
I
show her
know.
the
It's so
M92
funny.
round.
So my wife, before she got into guns, couldn't tell whatever. Now she knows all this stuff about guns, and it's a double-edged sword. I dig it because as long as I get a good deal, I have free range to buy whatever I want. Like if it's on sale, good for me. But
Yeah, you
now
can't
she
lie anymore.
notices. She goes, "Why do you have all these 1911s? Where'd you get this one? Where'd you get this one? Where'd you get this Springfield?" I'm like, "Oh shit,
You can't lie anymore.
can't lie, can't lie." I mean, I used to pay $50 in cash and put the rest on my credit card so it looked like I got a good deal. You'll understand when you're married down the line, you're still young. Let's see. The KP9 is the bee's knees. What is a KP9?
So the company we talked about earlier, Kalashnikov USA,
That's
they
their 9
had
millimeter version.
they make a 9mm AK that is a 100% clone of a Russian Saiga 9mm. It's called the Vityaz. That is a real Russian 9mm AK that was like pure moonrock unobtainium in this country forever. Like you would have to smuggle a parts kit into the country, which a lot have been smuggled in and built, which are extremely difficult to build. This company comes out of nowhere with a 1-to-1 clone, like 100% clone correct, and it's like the hottest 9mm, one of the hottest guns right now on the market, and they're freaking phenomenal. They're excellent guns.
Man, I'm gonna have to check them out. Like I said, I just got this AK bugging me, and I was like, man, I really want to get more into it. And then after going to your Kalashmas event and seeing the variety that was there were quite a few different guns there. I took a picture of this green Minecraft one for my son. He thought that was the best thing in the world. There's a lot of really cool variety there. There's also a lot of optic mounts I saw there too. So now that I know there's optic mounts, because 10 years ago, the ones that were out were trash looking. They didn't look that great.
10 years ago, there was virtually no aftermarket support for AKs. You had like Tapco, really gross looking stuff. Now there is a huge aftermarket for AKs. It's just about caught up to where ARs are. I mean, there's multiple companies making really high-end optic mounts, railed gas tubes. If your AK
I saw
has a
some really
side
cool
rail,
stuff there.
yeah, tons of them.
Well, this question in the chat's for you from Johnny Bravo. My question is, I have several ARs and 2 AKs and 62x39. Would it be worth it getting an AK and 5.56?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to enjoy AKs for the next 20 years, having one 5.56 AK of good quality will at least ensure you that you will be able to enjoy AKs for the next 20 years in case something dumb happens with ammo. Obviously, 223 and 5.56 isn't going anywhere. That's always going to be available here.
Right.
And if you absolutely love the platform, that's just a good way to have some peace of mind that it'll always be there and there's always going to be food for it. So I'm all about at least having one 5.56 AK.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. I have 7.62x39. I'm in. Thank you, Clay. See, now you have a convert. See the impact you just made? You coming on this live just converted Urban Ninja into an AK.
Oh, just wait. Just wait to fully convert him for the metamorphosis to be complete. I will put him prone on the ground with an RPK on the bipods with a drum mag and just let him go full 75 rounds with a
Well, I want to do that.
machine gun. Yeah, you can do that too. Dude, the
I'll go buy
RPK
some
will get
spam
everyone.
pens tomorrow. Let's go. Let's rock and roll.
Everyone loves the RPK. We've got it. We've got like some regular AKMs that are full auto, but the Romanian full-length RPK on the ground with the bipod gets everybody going. That is my favorite machine gun that we have.
Yeah, I love shooting full auto. It's a blast. Plantersville. We're located in a small town called Plantersville, Texas. I know where that's at. It's next to the shooting club in Todd Mission. Man, I definitely want to move up there. Smash, I don't know if you saw it earlier, but thank you so much for remembering me, brother, about the stickers. Oh, man, wait till you see what I put in the box. You're going to flip out. It'll be cool. Walter White, great name, by the way. Clayco, can you guys do a crink hat with gray and black instead of gray and white?
In black. Yeah. Hold on.
You guys don't make all that stuff there, do you? Look at this.
Here we go. Right here, baby. Crink, black and gray. There you go.
Oh, that's nice. You guys don't make that there, do you? It's all made to order?
We order it in batches. So these are Richardson hats that we have embroidered with different types of variants. Like this is a 762 crink. This is a 545 crink. We also have some with AKMs and all kinds of stuff, various colors.
Oh, so you guys don't use like a company where they order directly from a company and it's just yours, but you guys order it and then you ship it out from there.
Yes. Yep. So we order them in batches in different colors, sell them on the website, and ship them out. We do these T-shirts. These Draco T-shirts are ours. This is our company, Third Pin Threads.
Oh, that's very cool. You need to get Black Rambo to sport your shirts, man. People buy it like crazy.
Oh goodness! Yeah,
you ever met that guy?
I've never met him.
He
seems like a character, though.
He's got some funny videos. I'm a big fan. All right. Smash Time sticker on your work truck. Awesome. Next time you go to Renaissance Gun Club, he'll have a Smash Time sticker on his mailbox. I had a subscriber stick it on there like a year and a half ago, and it's still there. I think that's illegal.
Is it? It might be.
Might be. I didn't do it. Jim Burgess, Clay's too kind because he's in a whole different ballpark than me. But yeah, the competitions definitely get you up on your game. I know. Welcome to the club, Smash. Hey, I'm in the club, man. I love it. Well, no, I'm not in yet. I'm like 5% in. I got to get a decent AK, shoot some full auto, learn some basic Russian curse words, and I'll be all right.
You got to know Suka Bliet. You have to know Babushka, which is grandma.
Babushka, yeah.
That's pretty much it. You just run around saying Suka Bliet and you're good.
What does that mean? Or is that
not kid friendly? You can look it up.
Kid friendly. All right, we'll Google it later. Let's see who else is in the chat. Again, if you're not a subscriber, definitely subscribe to Clayco's channel. It's quality stuff. I just put the link in the subscription. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, I'd greatly appreciate it. You can always unsubscribe if you don't like it. It's free. Let's see. Anybody have more questions for Klay while we have him on? Rock Crusher says a buddy of mine has a Saiga and 5.56 for a sale for $1,000. I can't believe that gun's $1,000 now.
It's probably at that price in sporter configuration, which needs a full conversion.
I know. So when those things first hit the market, they were like $200 and some dollars. And then everyone started doing those polarized.
Yeah. So I mean that's a good base gun to start with, but if you want it fully converted with the parts, you're probably going to have about $2,000 in it to have it actually look like a regular AK.
Yeah.
Still though, that's about the going rate for a nice Bulgarian AK, and then you'd have a real Russian AK, so that'd be a good price.
All right, so Johnny Bravo has which AK platform would you buy in 5.56? I was looking at the Zastava. My 92 runs like a champ, so would I assume their 5.56s are good also?
Yeah, so he's talking about the Zastava M90, which is their 18-inch. I have one. I friggin' love it. I've had two. It's one of the best 5.56 AKs and one of the cheapest right now. You can buy their pistol, which is the M85. Those are built like tanks. Both have RPK receivers, so they have bulge trunnions. And the M90 has tunable gas from the factory. So there's like no recoil whatsoever. I love them.
Very cool. Will says you also need to get an Adidas tracksuit to get your Russian conversion. Do you have an Adidas tracksuit?
Yeah. Rachel's got, I don't know how many. She'll tell you in the chat. She's probably got 6 or 7 pairs. When you get into AKs, you will start to acquire some Adidas wear for sure.
Yeah, I do like Adidas.
Yeah, you'll start to like them a lot more.
Gort says I met Mikhail Kalashnikov at SHOT Show in the 90s. It's very cool. His daughter translated. Oh man, that'd be very cool.
Very special. It's very cool.
Yeah, I can't wait for SHOT Show. It's my first time going. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Jay Hartman says local pawn shop near me has a Saiga 5.56 unconverted for 600. Oh, you should buy that immediately.
Yeah, that's a much better deal. Yeah, because then converted, you might be in the gun $1,600, which to have a Russian 5.56 fully converted for 1,600 is great. And what's cool, a lot of those will run with Galil mags. The Saiga 5.56s.
How much do you have to convert it? I mean, what do you have to do to convert it?
So those don't have proper gas tubes. You got to locate a gas tube. The trigger group has to be moved. I think you have to have a proper lower handguard retainer on. Front sight gas post. I'm sorry, the front sight post with the proper thread pitch has to be put on. There's several things. You'd have to source all those parts. Those are all pressed and pinned. So that means you got to take it to a gunsmith that has all those tools to drive out those pins, slide everything off the barrel, and they're friction fit. It's not like an AR. Well, some AR stuff's friction fit, but AKs are put on with a ton of pressure, and they would have to repopulate the barrel, press all those parts back in place. The Saigas have to have some holes in the receiver that need to be filled. You have to have it recoded afterwards. It's quite a bit of work. But once it's done, that's as close to a real Russian variant as you can get, because we really hardly ever got, for a small period in time, we got some really good Russian AKs in, some of the SGL AKs, SGL 21s and 31s, which are still right now probably the most coveted AKs in the country, because they're like fully converted Russian AKs that Arsenal was bringing in before the ban happened and they were gone.
Right.
Even more so than Vepers. Vepers were like the last Russian AKs to trickle in the country. And then they just said no more Russian AKs at all. But the Saigas that are fully converted that came that way are probably some of the most expensive AKs in the country right now.
They're still cranking AKs out today, right?
Russia? Absolutely. Russia has slightly modernized their AK. They make the AK-12. They've made the 100 series forever. Now they make the AK-12 and a few other variants, but it's basically the exact same AK-74 that they, ran back in the Afghan war, modernized. It's just like us with the AR-15. We've had it for so long, and we're probably never going to leave it. We're just going to keep modernizing it. They've done the same thing with AK-74s to this day. Internally, they're practically identical. The muzzle device might attach a little bit different. They may have plastic furniture with pick rail on them, but they are still virtually identical. And they'll probably never fully get away from it because it's such a good platform.
Man, Devil Dog has a question for you. Klyko, can you do more videos on your new AK-74?
Yes. I shot a match with it, so I have to do the video recapping that. That one's going to come out really soon. I'm so proud of that gun. I've wanted a 74 for so freaking long, and I finally had a nice parts kit with a real Bulgarian chrome line barrel. It's beautiful. I don't have it here. It's at our shop, but yes, more videos to come for sure.
Nice. Out to Burn says, sup, Klay and Smash, any word on PSA 5.56 that takes surplus mags?
I haven't heard of them doing any 5.56 AKs. I don't think they make any 5.56 yet. I'm sure they will eventually. They had some at SHOT Show last time, but they haven't made them yet.
Let's see. Anybody else in the chat? David says, I have 2,500 rounds through my VSKA, and it's still running fine. But that being said, I still check the headspace after every session. Yeah, I guess that's something I should learn how to do.
And, just to put the whole life of a gun in perspective, even if you were to get, I don't know, what does 10,000 rounds cost in today's market? 7.62 cheap steel case. What would you say 10,000? 1,000 rounds right now costs what? $350?
For what, 7.62 by 3.9?
Yeah, $400, maybe a little bit more.
$400. I've seen it. It's crazy. Yeah, about $400.
So let's say you spend $700 on an AK. You get 10,000 rounds out of it. What is that, $4,000 in ammo right now?
Just about.
That amount of ammo will take you so long to pay for to get through that gun. You'll go years before the gun takes a dump on you. So it's all, relative.
Yeah. Hey, everyone, I can tell you, I can't tell you how many people I know that buy an AR, set it up, shoot it maybe once a year, and it sits in a closet, and they never shoot it, or it sits in a safe, and They barely shoot it. It's sad. Urban
Yeah.
Ninja says, "Do you need a camera guy or Sherpa for SHOT Show?" No, my wife is coming with me, so I got her a nice backpack where she can carry all the stuff.
So we'll bump into you there. Tony and I will be at SHOT Show this year.
Oh, it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna expect to see some Clayco face masks with your logos on the side.
Oh no, you won't see that.
I don't know. I think they might.
I'm sure we're gonna have to wear them, but I'm not gonna wear anything special.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about it.
So we were just in Vegas in October, and you can walk into any casino. You don't have to wear a mask. The second you sit down at a table, mask on. You can walk around with your drink, your cigarette, whatever. You're fine. The second you sit down at a table or at a slot machine, you have to put your mask on.
Oh man, I love Vegas. You know, when we lived in California, we would go. It was only a 2-hour drive. It depends on who's driving. 3 hours, 2 hours, and shit, we'd go almost every other weekend. So much fun.
We can only go once a year. We've gone every year now since 2016, sometimes twice a year, but that's the most we can manage. We'd go more if we could.
Yeah, well, it was a lot easier when we could drive. Now it's it's kind of a long drive. It's 22 hours.
Oh yeah, I made that drive many times.
Yeah. Triple H says, "When is SHOT Show?" SHOT Show is in 3 weeks.
Man, it's close.
Yeah, I'm training for it. I was talking to Dan, the firearm guy, and he goes, "Yeah, man, you walk like 12 to 20 miles a day." I'm like, "Oh shit."
Man, I don't remember walking that much. When
I
we
get
went
tired tying my shoes sometimes. I don't know about all that.
Oh, dude, when we went, we were like all business. We had like all the companies we wanted to meet on a list with times because you got to schedule time. You can't just walk up and hope that they're going to give you time. Because we were trying to promote Kalash Bash and we needed sponsorships. So we had to, like anyone that was in the AK market, we made a meeting time with them. We went up, gave them the whole spiel about coming to this event for like 3 days. And it honestly felt like work. It wasn't even like a vacation at all. It felt like work for 3 days. And finally on the 4th day, we just sort of hung out, went out in the desert that night, shot some guns, and it finally got fun. But the first 3 days it felt like all work.
Yeah. Since I do like international logistics, I go to these giant trade shows all the time. And I sometimes have to work the booth, and it's horrible. So, those guys are there trying to sell stuff. I mean, then they have all those YouTubers there trying to get free stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So your best bet is just to try. Well, that's what my plan is, just to try and make a quick impression, drop a card, see you later. I'll call you in 2 weeks, because they're not going to know. They're going to see 300,000 people, in 3 days, 4 days. They're not going to remember most people.
Oh, absolutely, for sure.
And everyone's going to be trying to hit them up for free stuff.
Oh yeah, when we first met K&S Precision, we were competitive shooters. And we picked up some sponsors, and we had the jerseys with all the sponsors, and we go shoot the matches. And we'd met K&S, and they told us, they said, it's funny, we've only ever sponsored one other shooter, and all it was, we ended up giving them a whole bunch of free stuff, and then we like never heard from the guy again, and there's like nothing they can do about it. So a lot of companies get burned with influencers or competitive shooters or whatever. They'll send all this stuff, and a lot of times they don't hear anything back. If they do, they might hear something back 6 months later. But
I've only done that once, and that was with Olight. Olight sent me a red dot to review, right? No, it was a flashlight, a pistol flashlight. So they sent it to me. I got it at 6 o'clock. She called me. She emailed me at 6:01. Oh, I just saw you I just got off work. I got home at 7. She goes, "Can you do your video today?" Like, it's 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
She goes, "Yeah, can you release it tomorrow?" I'm like, "No." I go, "I'll send it back to you, but I got to test it, for at least a week or two." And this lady got really upset. I'm like, "Yeah, I'll send it back. You send me what did I do with it? Oh, I put it on my BB gun. I have a full auto BB gun. I put it on. Like, they were so rude. That lady was so rude from Olight. If you guys.
Yeah.
Walter says, "Clay, I thought you wasn't going to SHOT Show." Uh-oh.
I might have said that because I didn't. I mean, for us, it's kind of a business thing, and if there's no business to be done, it's very expensive to just go to say, oh, we're going to SHOT Show, because
It is very expensive.
You can't. If I see a guy at a booth that I know, he's going to be talking to someone. He's going to be extremely busy. What am I going to do? Walk up and BS with him for 20 minutes? It's not worth going just to do that, because you're wasting a lot of people's time. If it's like an NRA event where normal people go, and that's why the vendors are there, just to talk to people, that's different. SHOT Show, though, if you have an agenda and you have something you want to go get done, it's cool to pay the $150 to get your thing. If you schedule enough meetings, you have access to face-to-face meetings with all these people that you would have to email back and forth and have to build a relationship with, or you can go meet them face-to-face. So we have some things we're trying to do this year. We have another event we want to try to kick off. So it makes sense for us to go now and try to talk.
Yeah, it's like I basically only want to see maybe 6 people I have for sure, just to say thank you and just to meet them face to face. A little bit of FaceTime. Plus, it gives me an excuse to go to Vegas with my wife and hang out and have a good time, because we used to go to Vegas like every other weekend. God, miss Vegas.
It's awesome. It's a fun place.
Oh, so much fun. But it's funny. I haven't gone in so long. Like all my hotel vouchers, all that free stuff I used to get. It's been like 5 years. So that stuff went away real quick.
Man, we are Fremont Street junkies. We love going to Fremont.
Did you do the zip line?
Never done the zip line. We like to go watch all the free concerts, and there's a karaoke bar called the Cat's Meow that we love going to.
Oh, dude. Don't tell my wife that. My wife's Filipino, man. They're born with microphones in their hands. They are.
That's the place. Next time you go, take her. It's at the very end of Fremont, called the Cat's Meow.
I got to edit this. I got to edit this part out of the live stream. I don't want her seeing that. Let's see. C6 is in the chat. What's up, buddy? You're supposed to be on vacation, man. What are you doing? Your wife's going to kill you.
C6, he looks like a Mustang lover.
Corvette.
Yeah, I'm just messing with him.
Walter says, I decided not to go because it's never going to be the same. It's my first time going, so I'm going.
I mean, it sucks that this is your first time with all the COVID crap, but.
Well, it's just like, because I do sales for a living. A lot of salespeople will complain and they'll make excuses why they can't get sales. And then for everyone that can't get it, and it's either an opportunity or a negativity. It's an opportunity. It doesn't bother me at all. I don't like the whole mask thing, but I have they're not fake masks, but they're real loose. They look legit, but they're really not.
I mean, like, it's cool. There were some people there that have YouTube channels that we built a relationship with. That's also a thing, an excuse to go see people that's really the only time you get to see them at SHOT Show, people that live in other countries or way across our country, and that's the only time you ever congregate. That's cool.
Yeah. Like I said, I have like 6 people I want to meet face to face, and I got a dinner plan. And then there's one after hours thing I'm going to, and then that's it. And it's just hanging out with the wife. We're staying right on top of it, so we don't have to walk anywhere really. So it's kind of like a vacation for us.
I'll tell you my best SHOT Show moment that I thought was so cool. The guys at Kalashnikov USA let Tony and they had one of the biggest booths at SHOT Show, and they let us wipe one of their tables clean. We had a big stopwatch, one of their AKs, and a bunch of blindfolds. And we did timed blindfold AK teardown challenges right there in the middle of the SHOT Show. It started off with like a couple people. And
is that on video?
Yeah, a lot of it's on video.
Is it on your channel?
It's not on my channel. We put it on Instagram, and KUSA has it on their Instagram. But what was so funny is it went from like meh to Polnar Tactical comes up and does it. Brandon Herrera, he's over there doing it. And all these people, it started to be this big thing. Like, oh, they're doing this challenge over at the KUSA booth. And we had like 100 people do it. And it was just a ton of fun. It kind of broke the monotony of just the normal old SHOT Show stuff of just walking around, waiting on your time. It was just
trade shows, man. Fun to do. Trade shows will kill you. There's a logistics one in Austin. It's called it's a chemical show, but nobody goes to the actual event. They just go to the hotels, and you have your meeting scheduled in 15-minute increments. And so literally you meet in a lobby of one of these Hilton hotels or whatever, and your meeting is from 5 to 5:15, and then you have a dinner, breakfast, lunch. So in one day, we'll see 25 meetings. We'll do 25 meetings in a day. It just wears you out. You do it for 3 days, and you're like, man, I just want to go home. It's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. Let's see. C6 says, I'm stuck at a function in Corpus with family. Ah, boo-hoo. Daniel says, hey, Michael, what's up? That's me. I appreciate you and your channel. Love to get together when you go shooting. Come on out, man. I'm pretty easy to find. I'm in Houston. Just go to Academy. I'll be cruising around one of those on a weekly basis.
Yeah, it was nice when you were kind of keeping everyone up to date on ammo prices back when it was crazy. I was one of those dudes, man. When Academy was the only one selling reasonably priced ammo, I would show up at Academy at 5 a.m., get in line, take a nap by the door, in line with all the other guys. They was the only way to get ammo for like 20 cents a round for the longest time. And now Academy's
you're not cruising for ammo. You're cruising for good prices.
Yeah. So, I use an online website. I pay like $100 a year to get a discounted rate. It's like a prime membership on Amazon. And I mean, I'm finding some steel case ammo for like 31 cents, 30 cents a round with free shipping. And that's about as good as it gets, honestly.
Yeah, people are like, look, if they have these guns, like, oh, I would never shoot steel out of my 1911. I'm like, why not?
Yeah. Say that right now, man. I mean, how can you not buy steel?
I was shooting, it's not steel. It's, what's that other stuff it's like plastic, not plastic. It's aluminum.
Aluminum case, yeah.
Yeah, I was shooting aluminum case 45 for like 2 weeks. It was great. And then I went to one range and they kind of frowned on it. So, are you shooting this? I go, not anymore.
We blew up a full auto Scorpion with aluminum case ammo. Blew the side right off of it. That's on my channel, that video.
Oh, man. I tell you what, my SIG MPX is coming back from SIG tomorrow. That thing jammed up, and then halfway through the review, it jammed up. And then when I got home, it started shaking. I took the top off, and this very important piece fell out that looked very important. So I was like, well, I'm not going to try and test it anymore. So I sent it back. Triple H says if it's a good night, Selena can handle it. 100%. 100%. So, in your opinion, why do you think the AK gets so much hate? And I notice less now, but for a while, man, people just hate it. Was it just because it was, communist country?
Yeah. Yeah, it's that's definitely a big factor. It's the gun of the enemy. I mean, like we've been in Iraq so long now, that didn't help. Even before that, basically from Vietnam until now, that's really what kind of started it all. It's just started as a bad guy gun. Jim Fuller, who's like the godfather of the AK in this country, told a really good story to kind of put things into perspective. Back in the 80s, he was a guy that was really into AKs. So he would buy up a bunch of Chinese AKs at the time. And he thought, this would be a really cool gun to modify. In the 80s, this was very forward thinking. There were no gunsmiths working on AKs back then. People just didn't do it. So he would walk into gun shops with his Chinese AK and he would say, yeah, there's a couple things I want to try. I might want to cut the barrel down. And he's like, sometimes short of getting chased out of the gun shop, you would get cussed at, get that thing out of my gun shop. I don't have commie guns here.
Dang.
That's the gun that shot at me back when I was in Da Nang. That's just how it was. It was a really frowned upon gun to a lot of people. Those guys had kids. Well, dad told me that gun sucks. That's a bad gun. That guy has a kid. Well, dad told me that gun sucks because grandpa said it sucked. And it's just gone on and on and on. It's just this gun shop lore that never really went away. And of course, the AR-15 is such a good gun. For a lot of people, that's the camp they fell into. They always kind of heard that the AK sucked. So they they always went their whole life kind of buying into that. And they already had an AR-15, so what do they need an AK for? So they never really got to experience that. No, it doesn't suck. It's just a bunch of crap that you've been hearing your whole life. And it's the echo chamber, man. People regurgitate any negativity that they hear about something, that just kind of becomes the way people feel about it. Happens with vehicles, happens with cars,
Politics.
happens with anything. Politics, absolutely.
Now, remember,
Celebrity.
I'm from California, man. I was a convert. There's such a hardcore echo chamber out there. You can't even step out of the line a little bit, and you'll get disowned.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
absolutely, man. And I think that just has so much to do with it. There's an overwhelming amount of content out there right now that you could go watch that will prove to you that not only is the AK just a spectacular mechanism, a spectacular, reliable mechanism that has withstood the test of time. To a lot of people, it is a beautiful gun to look at, depending on the furniture that you choose, the country that made it, whatever. There's so much variety with the AK because so many countries made it, from East Germany to Russia to Romania to Yugoslavia to
Right.
now Serbia, whatever. Dozens of companies have made variations of this gun. There's a lot to love. And the AK does not have to be a 1 MOA gun to impress anybody because it's the most popular gun on the planet. That gun was designed, it does exactly what it was designed to do. To run, to hit a guy, it can hit a guy, minute of man, at 100 yards, perfectly fine. It can do substantially better than that. But unfortunately, that's just like in the last 5 years, really started to blow up on YouTube
Right.
and everywhere else with all this info. You just got to give the gun a chance. Spend a little bit of time with it. That's all.
You know what's funny is when you search for any AK material, your channel comes up a lot. So I think you're probably help convert more people than you even know existed, because with your followers, I mean, with your videos getting so many people will watch your video and not comment. Think of all the people that just cloak, watch your stuff and never really comment. You probably converted more people than you know, man. So that event, the Kalash Bash, the Kalash Mist, that converted me. Now I'm really interested in the AK platform. Look what you did to Urban Ninja here, and I'm sure more people are going to get into it. I'm telling you, man, it's people like you that are ambassadors for the cause, and I will call it a cause, that make an impact that you don't even know, man. You probably reach more people than you could even know.
Well, at the end of the day, man, it's been a fun hobby. But if it weren't, the gun's awesome. But if it weren't for the people that I've met around the AK, I mean, back when I was shooting ARs all the time, there's cool people in the gun community everywhere, but it wasn't until I started doing AK stuff with AK people where I was like, man, I've never met anyone that was an encyclopedia about guns like this. Like, AK people are friggin' passionate. Maybe
Yes.
more passionate than like cult cloners, guys that get really into military, M16 cloning,
Like
and
your
cult
buddy
cloning.
Zach, he was very passionate about my VSKA.
Very like to where they can get really heated about it. Like, just the passion is there. It's such a special thing to me that I'm trying to really share that to as many people as I possibly can. Not only with the YouTube, but with all the events. Get off the couch. Don't watch YouTube. Come out to this event. All these people that are here are just like you. They like this AK, and they might not fit in at their range. They might not fit in with all the guys shooting the ARs and the Glocks, whatever range they're a part of. But here, there's dudes that are LARPing like Russian Spetsnaz soldiers. Everyone's wearing $30 Chinese chest rigs that they got off Amazon, and they're all having a really good time. And it all started just liking this gun that for a long time, nobody really loved. But right now, there's a huge blossoming community around it. And that's the main reason, man. It's just the community that has popped up around this gun, just the culture of being into this gun has just blown me away. And it's gotten me really into it.
Yeah, that's why I started the meet and greets, man, because gun people are naturally pretty private people. They're just private, They don't really talk about what they have. And I'm trying to get these guys to break out of their shell and just be more open, but it's great. Raphael in the chat says he converted me. I never saw AKs like I do now. See? It's awesome, man.
I mean, we've all, back when we were kids, my dad bought me my first Wasser from a pawn shop for $300 when I was 16. And he's like, it's a trashy gun, but it's your first kind of bigger caliber to mess around with. Maybe you can get into an AR after that. Like, it was a step for him. That's a stepping stone gun that you'll throw away eventually. And it didn't happen that way. I ended up going, this is way cooler than all the other guns Dad has. But to him, it was just like, I mean, it's neat, but I don't know. Like, but he came from that generation, you know, he grew up at a time when it was just so frowned upon. And unfortunately, like we said earlier, I think it's just a lot of that echo chamber lore that has just gone on and on and on. It's just such a talking point. AR-15 versus AK. Well, the AK is way more, it's less accurate, has way more recoil. That's like always the go-to
Right.
thing. But
That's what I heard. I heard that AKs, when they shoot, the bullet will start tumbling after 100 yards and it's inaccurate. And I'm like, really? And I heard that from tons of people. And
you know,
I just never got into it.
fortunately for the AK, man, I think hopefully now you know that that's totally not true. It's such a capable round, and once you get past that, then you're like, oh my god, there's this thing called 545, and then you start getting into AK-74s, and it's this whole nother thing to get into. It's they're so awesome, and I think they're as awesome as AR-15s in this country. Nothing will ever be, you know, top dog like an AR is in America. That will never happen, and it shouldn't happen. I'm glad that that's our country's gun, but you have to acknowledge that the most popular small arm on this country for the longest period of time has been AK variants.
Oh, yeah.
Why is that? Ask yourself that. Really start diving into it, and you'll see why they're just that popular. Why they're that popular? You'll see it.
100%. So everybody in the chat, if you are not a subscriber to Clayco47, I just put a link to his channel in the chat. Please click and subscribe to his channel. It will change your whole view on AK-47s. If you're not a subscriber of mine, please subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Is there anything before we wrap this up, Clayco, you want to tell the viewers?
Man, I think we said it all.
Yeah.
Don't believe the hype. If someone tries to steer you away from AKs, just spend a little bit of time with it. Watch some YouTube videos. Figure out how to operate them. Learn how to
his
zero
YouTube videos.
You know, one of the cheapest things to shoot right now, a bunch of steel case 7.62 for now. Just give it a shot.
100%.
Buy you one, give it a shot. You're not going to lose money on an AK. Your AK will be more valuable when you sell it later if you get tired of it than when you're buying it right now. I promise you that. And I just thank you, Smash, for having me on today.
Oh, this is great, man. Like, I really, like, when I saw you at the event, I was like, wow, I didn't really put it together until it was you, until I saw your video. I'm like, oh, shucks, I took a video of you in your video. And I watched a bunch of your stuff. I'm like, this guy's really interesting. I really wanted you to out on the channel because I guess I kind of fell into the AK pond now, and I want to learn more about it. And there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn. I think it's 10 times harder to be an expert on AK stuff than it is AR stuff.
It is. I still to this day feel like I know a quarter of what I'd like to know. There's some of these AK guys have forgotten more stuff than we could ever hope to know. There are some real AK aficionados in this country. If you just go to places, there's some really good AK Facebook forums, AK files. There's some really great AK YouTube channels.
And then you have Brandon Herrera out there with that beautiful lush hair as a great spokesman for the AK community.
He's a really fun guy. The young crowd really likes Brandon. He's a
handsome devil.
He's a handsome devil. He comes out to several of our events. He's been to all the Kalash Bashes. He didn't come out this year. He came to all the other ones. So a lot of you guys that have been to the event have met him. Super nice guy. But just, I'll leave you with that, man. If you want to learn about AKs, don't believe the hype. Just go out for yourself. See for yourself. If you know a buddy that has one, go shoot it one day. Go buy one. Sell it if you don't like it. But I'm just telling you, it's a gun that you really should. If you're getting burnt out on ARs, you're getting burnt out on whatever it is that you've been shooting. A lot of us wind up having 10 ARs in the gun safe and we go, why do I have so many ARs? That happens to a lot of us.
Yep.
If you want something different, the AK has what you crave. It is a breath of fresh air for a lot of people that are getting a little bored with what they've been shooting for the past 10 years. And again, thank you, Smash, for having me on. I'm glad that we're local. We're definitely going to have a machine gun day. I'm not just saying that. So
100%.
if you have anyone you want to bring out, bring all the common calibers, and I'll bring all the machine guns, and we'll have a day. It'll be awesome.
Nice. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in again. If you're not a subscriber to his channel, please subscribe. If you're not subscribed to mine, please subscribe. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time today, Clayco, for coming on. And We'll do it again. We'll do it again soon. Maybe we'll do it after SHOT Show. We'll have a recap.
Yeah, we could do a SHOT Show recap. That'd be cool.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time.